All right, today we're diving deep into the internet's deadliest shadow markets. We're going to peel back the layers on 5 tiers of illegal trade, where what's for sale goes from just dangerous to downright apocalyptic.
So let me ask you something. I want you to really think about it. When you imagine the most dangerous thing you could buy online, what pops into your head? What could you possibly get with just a few clicks?
For most of us, our minds probably jump to things like stolen Netflix accounts, maybe some fake IDs, or hacked social media profiles. And yeah, that stuff is definitely out there. But the reality? Well, it's on a completely different level of terrifying. We're talking about getting the keys to an entire city's power grid, buying military-grade explosives, or ordering chemical compounds so deadly they can kill you on contact.
So let's kick things off with our first 2 tiers of danger. This is the realm where threats that are born in the digital world are specifically designed to unleash total chaos in our physical one.
And this is a really critical point to grasp. The most catastrophic weapon being sold online isn't a weapon you can hold. It's not a physical thing at all. It's information. More specifically, it's login credentials and backdoor access into the very systems that make our society function.
And look, we're not talking about some small-time business getting hacked. These sellers are offering up access to the digital controls for entire power grids, for water treatment facilities, and even for entire hospital networks.
Just imagine a terrorist organization or a hostile country buying those credentials. In an instant, they could plunge millions into darkness. They could contaminate a whole city's water supply, or they could digitally hold every patient in a hospital hostage. It's a kind of warfare that doesn't need a single soldier or a single bullet.
And it really hammers home this chilling point. Software can be just as lethal as hardware, because the threat isn't just stolen access, it's also weaponized software that's packaged and sold just like any other product online.
It's this business model they call Ransomware-as-a-Service, or RaaS for short. The best way to think about it is like a subscription service for crime. For a monthly fee and maybe a cut of the profits, criminals with almost zero technical skill can lease incredibly powerful malware. It literally puts the ability to launch a global cyber attack into anyone's hands.
And here's just how fast this can blow up into a real-world crisis. A hacker breaches a system. They turn around and sell the login info on the dark web. A criminal group buys that access, and boom, suddenly an entire hospital system is completely locked down, putting patient lives at immediate risk. And this isn't a what-if scenario. This has actually happened. Okay, so we've covered the digital. Now we're going to pivot to the shockingly physical. This next tier of danger involves lethal items you can order online and have delivered right to your front door.
And let me be perfectly clear here. We are so far beyond common street drugs. The substances for sale on these markets are so incredibly potent that they are, for all intents and purposes, chemical weapons.
This comparison really puts the danger into perspective. On one hand, you have morphine, a powerful but, standard medical pain reliever. On the other hand, you have carfentanil. This is a substance that was literally created to sedate elephants, and it's being sold online for people to use.
An elephant tranquilizer. To really understand the scale of that danger, you just need to remember one number: 10,000.
That's right. It is 10,000 times more powerful than morphine. An amount so tiny you can't even see it. A single microgram can be fatal if you just touch it or breathe it in. The fact that this stuff is being sent through the regular mail system is a massive public health crisis just waiting to happen.
And now we're entering the final, and honestly, the most disturbing tiers of these shadow markets. In this space, the things being sold represent a complete and total abandonment of human empathy. In these so-called dead drop marketplaces where buyers and sellers never actually meet, they just leave goods in a hidden location, you can find military-grade hardware. We are talking about C4 plastic explosives, grenades, and fully functional military firearms, all being sold to organized crime or extremist groups who could never, ever pass a legal background check.
This isn't just about commerce anymore. It's a whole ecosystem built on what one expert calls a vacuum of morality that directly fuels the absolute worst kinds of human behavior. And that vacuum, that total lack of morality, leads us to the final, most infamous item supposedly for sale on the dark web: the contract killer, the hitman for hire.
So, let's separate the myth from the reality here. The idea of some global network of assassins just waiting for a contract, it's largely fiction. These sites are almost always one of two things: a scam designed to steal your cryptocurrency, or an elaborate sting operation run by law enforcement.
But here's the crucial, terrifying part. The real threat isn't that the service is real. It's that the intent is. A market actually exists where people are actively trying to pay money to have other human beings killed. And that desire, in and of itself, is what fuels other forms of very real violence.
Now, after exploring such a dark landscape, it's pretty easy to feel like this is just some ungoverned, lawless space. But there's a really important counter-narrative here. In these deep shadows, someone is always watching.
It all comes down to this key concept, the digital flare. The very act of searching for these things, explosives, access to power grids, hitmen, it doesn't hide you in the dark. It actually does the opposite. It basically acts like a flare, lighting you up and broadcasting your activity to law enforcement all over the globe.
And who are these watchers? They're the major international agencies. We're talking the FBI, Europol, and Interpol. They are actively monitoring these marketplaces, and not just to shut them down, but to strip away the anonymity of the buyers and track them down in the real world.
And all this leaves us with a profound and really difficult question. To stop someone from buying access to a city's power grid, how much of our online activity should be monitored? As we fight this undeniable evil that's hiding in the corners of the internet, how do we possibly strike the right balance with our fundamental right to privacy? There are no easy answers.